recommend to take out your laptops if you have with them. Okay. Now it's better. No. So now it's better. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we'll be going through cPanel. So if you have your laptops, you can take out them, so we can also start the interactive session. Okay, so I'll be going through cPanel, PHP, and a little bit about mobile app development, but main focus would be cPanel and how to connect your database with different web pages. Okay, so just a brief reminder before we start with today's lecture. So since this is a database course, so our focus is mainly databases here. So learning how to do hands-on SQL programming is very important. So you guys know you should be able to execute different SQL queries and commands. And I mean, you can use any tools, whatever you like, but they should not mask the actual SQL queries. So you have to write your SQL queries by your own self. So for example, PHP basically does not mask the interaction with database because in that case, you guys will be writing the SQL queries, but tools such as Hibernate and Link, they are not allowed in the class. So further instructions you can see on the tools and resources page. So most of the instructions are listed over there. Okay, so this is from cPanel. Actually, it has file manager. As you can see, it has a file manager, PHP, MyAdmin, MySQL databases, Perl modules, Ruby gems, Ruby on Rail if you are interested in that. So it has lots of different other tools also available, so you can use whatever you are convenient with. Okay, so how to access cPanel? So everybody is supposed to go to the tools and resources pages on our wiki pages, and over there should be a link for the cPanel. So if you can open that link. Okay, so your personal web hosting account should be active, but if it's not active, so you can let us know. So it should be active by this week or something. And you should be able to access your web pages by using your netid.web.engineering.illinois.edu. So you should be able to access the main welcome page. And for example, if you guys are working in a group, so you should be having another group account for your all members, so that you guys can access that combinedly whenever you guys want. So for the group URL, you have to fill out a form. Maybe you can fill it out now if you are done with all of your group members. Provide their net IDs. Any one person from your group can fill that form. Provide the net IDs of the other group members. So I think it might take around like 15 minutes to get activated your group account. So you can access that account by whatever group name you have, like here, and the remaining is the same, like .web.engineering.illinois.edu. So you need your personal account to access your own individual account and group accounts. For example, you should be able to see if you are just using your own account right now, you have not created your group account, so you should be able to see log into your NetID cPanel account, something like that. Should be able to see these two lines, I guess. One group is just shown twice. So go ahead and log into webhost.engineering.illinois. So everybody is done. Okay, and then you should be able to access your personal account preview. It should be, if you have a group account, so it should be more likely this view also. So one of these views you should be able to see. Okay, so the tools inside cPanel, so the ones we will be going through are MySQL databases, phpMyAdmin, and File Manager. So there are some project files for this tutorial. If you go to the team pages where you have your team name and other information, so you should be having team 0 at the top of that page. If you click that team 0 link, then you should be able to access a zip file. So if you go to the team pages, under that team page there should be a team 0, and within that team 0 link should be able to access this folder. Download that folder, unzip the file. So should be able to get those, I think 5 files. So everyone has those files. So the first file is index.html. This is HTML file. Second file should be search_genes.php. That's a PHP file. Third file is genes or gene.csv. It's more likely Excel or CSV file. And then you should have one image file. And then the last one is the SQL file. Whatever account you have, underscore project username, project name, or database name .SQL. Okay, so let's get started by creating the database name CS411. So I would suggest you guys to use the same conventions that I'm using here. So go ahead and click the MySQL database in the cPanel. So if you have this link, so that should be MySQL databases, or this one, MySQL databases. So everyone can access that page? Okay, cool. So in this case, create a database named CS411. So here I think this should be your net ID underscore CS411. And then add user to that database. First create the username. Same, I would suggest to keep the same name for this demo purpose, CS411, and use the password CS411. After that, add the user to your database and grant all privileges to that user. So make sure you check all privileges once you're adding that user to your database. So the first step is create a new database. Second is create a username for your database, and third step is add that username to your database. So make sure this should be your net ID if you're using your net ID, not a group account. Net ID underscore CS411, and then add the user, same net ID underscore CS411. So everyone got that step up running? Okay, so let's go with PHP my admin stuff. So if you open that link that says PHP my admin, so over there you should be able to see similar structure. So the first page that basically shows the structure SQL, on the left hand side you should be able to see your database name, CS411, and then you should have structure SQL, some different SQL commands here. So in this case, there are two ways that you can follow. The first one is you can use the structure to create tables, or you can use the like SQL commands using the SQL feature here. So both are there. Both should have the same function. If you want to search anything, if you want to execute any query, you should be able to execute through this SQL link. So in that case, so I would say just go to the SQL panel here, and then write a query, create table. You can name that table as a gene, where you should be having the features gene underscore number, and give its data type, and then gene underscore ID, give its data type, gene underscore symbol, gene underscore full name, gene underscore function, and gene underscore length. So you should be able to create 6 fields in that case. For example, gene int is just likely number, and then you have a gene ID, so that should be a worker, just a character, or you can just put this as a character, or maybe as an integer. And then gene symbol, this should be either character or worker. So for example, if you are using any unique ID for your database, also mention the primary key over there. And then name, function, length, you can use different data types. For example, here I'm using for full name as a varchar, or variable character of 50 characters long. Same for the function, and for the length, it's just likely an integer value here. So write that query and then hit go button, so you should be able to execute that query. Or by simply you can just type in gene name, whatever table name you are going to call it. Let's say for this demo purpose we are using the table name as a gene, and then number of columns, how many columns you need, 6 columns. And over there you can specify the data types. There should be one more column for that if you click go after putting these 2 entries over there. So everyone is done?
I don't know if other people have this problem. I have to wait for 15 minutes to access.
If you're using your own account, so you can access it right away. You don't need to wait for anything. But if you're using, if you just have created your group account, then you might need to wait for 15 minutes.
Okay.
But for your personal account, it's just active. It should be active, I guess.
I tried my personal account and it doesn't seem to be active. Like it tells me 15 minutes to wait.
Okay. So anyone else who is having this wait time? I see. Okay, so just wait. You should be able to get one more email after your account is ready, I guess.
How do I log into my cPanel account?
Go to this link, webhost.
And there's no login function.
here with webhost.engineering.illinois. Did you click that link?
Yeah.
And you don't see any login information page?
No.
Or maybe just
Should we download the file from the team table to the cPanel?
so go to this page and then click Tools and Resources. Over there, you should be able to access that login page. Or maybe if you have clicked that link, so maybe you need to change this to 1, I guess. So yeah. Okay. But anyways, go to the Tools and Resources page, and over there you should be able to access the link to access the cPanel. So here you can, if you are using from the presentation slide, so you can change this E to S1 to E, I think 1 S1, and then click, then you should be able to access the same page. So webhost.engineering.illinois, and under that link should be able to access your own account or a group account. So it should look like this. So this is my personal account. Everybody should be able to access pretty much similar page, and this is a group account. So it's pretty much same. Okay, here this is the MySQL database page. Here you can add database name, let's say CS411, your netid underscore or your group project name underscore CS411, create database, and then add a user, and then add that user to your database, and then hit add button. So your account is active now?
It is now.
So whose account is not active here? I think it should be active by this time.
So did you want us to type in that SQL query manually to create table?
I would say just go and type it manually. If you have any error, if you encounter any errors, so you can figure out. Otherwise, you can use the structure function here, and then add a gene name, and then number of table name, gene, and then number of columns, 6 columns.
So how can we create this table?
How can we create this table? By writing SQL query. Let's go through this way. Okay, so I think everyone is done with this database creation step, and then after that PHP my admin. So if you see under that link, you should be able to see your databases, SQL. So make sure you first click your username, and then under that username you should be able to see the structure and SQL. So let's say create table, just write Gene, G-E-N-E, column 6. Let's say I can type in here Gene 2, columns, let's say 6, and hit go. Under that case, specify the data types. You can also download presentation slides for your convenience, so you can see those things. Yeah, here you have to specify the fields by your own self. So for example, I have created gene underscore number, NO, gene underscore ID, gene underscore symbol, gene underscore full underscore name. So use the same names if you want, because we'll be executing some more queries afterwards, so you should not be able to have any problems later on. So so you have created the table name gene. So if you go to the structure, you can specify your data types also over there. So let's go to the project demo page, PHP my admin, and then click that database. Under that, you should be able to see two tables. The first one is gene, that's what we just created, and then second is user. You can also create that right now, but you can also skip this step for now. So for example,
I'm sorry, are we supposed to have the user table already?
You are not supposed to right now.
Okay.
Just go with the gene table, I would say. And then if you click the structure of that table, should be able to see the structure. So what are those data types? For example, if you have gene underscore name, number, its type is integer, gene underscore ID, its type is character, and so on. So once you are done with this step, then the next step is to populate that database, or populate or add some information to that table. So you should be having another file name gene.csv file. So if you open that file, you should be able to see 6 columns. The first one is for number, the second one is for the IDs, third one is for the names, and so on. So you should be able to access, see those 6 columns into that CSV file. So go back to your PHP My Admin page. Over there, you should be able to see export and import burdens. So if you go to the import, choose the file name. Let's say that CSV file, and after that, the other field should automatically be filled up according to your file format. For example, the file format was CSV, and then hit go. So then you should be able to see some data in your recently created table name Gene. So everyone has that data by that time. So use the import function to import the CSV file. And then finally, should be able to see some data information.
How do we get the CSV file?
Go to the project team pages, project, access your team, and under that team 0, within that team 0 link, you should be able to see that CS411 project files.zip. So unzip that file, then you should be able to access those 5 files.
When I create the table, yes, I have.
So when you create your table and then?
And yes, and I have. When I type the type and the value is default.
So once you are done with the table creation, for example, using the structure or maybe using your own query, that's on the PowerPoint slide. Use this query. So then use the import function and then import that CSV file. Choose a file from your desktop and then import that file, this one. So after you are done with the import step, click Go button.
So you mean we can import the files from the other folder?
I'm sorry, you can also find.
We can import the files from the other folders, right?
Exactly. Like for your project purpose? Yes.
Is it possible using other languages other than like PHP with like cPanel?
Yes, we'll be using that also. PHP, we will be using
So,
PHP.
like, can we use other languages?
Yes, you can use Python. You can use, there are some options here. For example, it's not good for Node.js, Flask, and some other options. So, but for PHP, it's good for PHP. You can use Python, Ruby on Rails, and stuff like that. So here are some of the softwares that are already installed in cPanel. But if you have any problems later on, just send us an email or maybe send an email to the engineering IT staff, so they should be able to help it out. Okay, so let's go back to your table name Gene and see its structure. So I hope by this time you should have some data in your table name Gene. So everyone is done with this step. Okay. So there are some other ways to import data into your database. You can crawl data, or you can also get data from different users. For example, your class values or whatever, depends whatever type of project you are going to implement. So this is one of the way that you can populate your database with some data. Or you can also manually type in data information using SQL queries within this section, SQL. Okay, after we are done with this step, then we will be going through File Manager. So under that File Manager, you guys should be able to handle file that are basically written in HTML, PHP, CSS, Python, or whatever files you are going to implement. But here for this tutorial purpose, we are going through PHP and HTML files. So if you go back to your cPanel page, so under that, the first link is File Manager here. Open that link, and then you should be able to see something like that. And under that link, there is a public underscore HTML link on your left hand side. So if you click that link, then you should be able to import your project files. So I think by default you have index.html file. So just go ahead and type in your net ID or project group project name dot web host no.
It doesn't work for me either.
Yeah, just add HTTP, I guess. So okay, I have already opened this one here. .web .engineering.illinois, not web host. Something like that. So you should be able to access your cPanel, see like the link, like your cPanel account is created. So you should not have any of this information. Okay.
So are we supposed to see that web page?
No, you just blank page with cPanel account created information. Okay, so under that File Manager, you can, let's make changes to your index file. Open public underscore HTML link, and then in that link, click that index file, index.html, and then you can edit that file by right clicking, or maybe there's also an edit button here on the top. You can edit by just edit, simple edit thing, or you can edit with the code editor, or you can edit with the HTML editor. So let's just use simple edit function right now. So whatever was shown on your first page, so you should be able to see that information here. So go ahead, open the project index file, index.html, and copy whatever you have over there, copy everything, into your index file, or you can just upload that index file. Should have you can either upload index.html file or copy all the information that you have from our project files to your index file. Yes? Yes, you can do SSH also. And if you want to use SSH information, some of the informations are there, and then there you have to use the host name like webhost.engineering.illinois. So this link, webhost.engineering.illinois. Okay, so just edit your index.html file, copy everything that you have downloaded from the index file to this already available index file, and then refresh that page. So your page should look like this page. Also, there's a one image file, so you can also upload that image file here. So let's say I have this image file here, rabbit1.png. So you should be able to see that image file also in your URL. So everyone can see that page? Within your cPanel account. Okay, so if you type in here 1, can you execute anything like that? So just type in 1 here and then click search. Can you see something like that? Like gene 1, gene ID 826470? No? Okay, because you guys are not connected to your database yet.
404 not found.
Exactly. So you should be having some errors. So so upload your search_genes.php file. So you should be able to upload actually 3 files. Index.html, image file, and a PHP file. So these 3 files should be there actually if you want to implement that page. Okay. So if you're done with the uploading these 3 files, so click this one PHP file and then edit the code. So you can also use code editor function. In that case, you don't have to make any changes here. I think this is the 3rd line. Webhost.engineering.illinois, you don't have to make any changes here, but change your net ID here, or group name or net ID information here. And then underscore your database name, or your username, and then your password. So change this information and also change this database name information. So make 2 changes here. Replace this project demo 411 with your net IDs. So make these 2 changes in your PHP file. So you can also see this PHP file start with this sign $! PHP, and it ends with this sign. So these are the PHP tags, and under that tags you can use your SQL commands or whatever function you are going to implement for your database. You can code that function here. So this one is the link how to connect with your database. These are the few lines. You need to follow those lines so that you can basically get connected with your database. So if you're done with these changes, so I think you might be able to execute that query. Can you see this page now if your database is connected? So you guys want me to repeat one more time? Pretty much all the steps to the database, how to connect to the database. Okay, let's go one more time briefly. From this page onward. So first go to the MySQL database within your cPanel. Create new database. So this should be your netid underscore CS411, and then add a new user. Again your netid underscore CS411. Use the password CS411. And then add that username to your database. So you should be able to see both username and database, and give all privileges to your user. Manage user privileges. So check all privileges and then hit OK button. Okay, after that open the phpMyAdmin link. Under that link you can either use the tool structure or you can use the tool SQL. So if you are going to use the structure first tool, make sure you have clicked your database name first on your left hand side. So then you should be able to see structure, SQL and other links. So if you are going to use this structure, so create table, name the table as a gene, number of columns 6, click go button, or the other way is you can write the query actually. This is the query that I executed. So create table gene, and then in that within that command you can write your further field names or table column names. 6 column names are there. After you are done with this step, so then you should be able to import a CSV file or data file into your database. So once you're done with importing data, then go to File Manager. Within that link, you should be able to see public underscore HTML link. Under that link, upload 3 files: index.html, image file, and PHP file. Or you can also edit your already existing index.html page, copy everything from the index.html page that you have downloaded from project files, and then finally should be able to see this information in your public underscore HTML link. Done? Okay. Now if you type in http:// your netid.web.engineering.illinois.edu, then should be able to see something like that. just refresh your page, so you should be able to see this updated page. And then within that page, execute the command. Just type 1 here and make sure the link is gene number is clicked. So and then hit search button. So then you should be able to access your database information, whatever is there at that index. Okay, so this is how basically we connect to the database. So you have to make changes in your PHP file so that you should be able to access your updated pages. So for example, here I have a project demo 411 underscore CS411, and then password is this one. So this is the first one is localhost, second one is username, and then third one is password. And then this is your database. What type of database or what is the name of your database that you are going to connect? So this should also be your, for example, net ID underscore CS411. So everything should be same. So here your code further goes here, and then finally MySQL close link. You can close that database link. So any other questions at this point?
So the name of the HTML should be index. Can we use other names?
You can use other names also. As your main page, you can use whatever name you have. You can use your project name or any other name.
You kind of personal page index.html, and I upload another HTML, but it only shows my home page.
Okay, so then you can just edit the first index.html page. So open that page in code editor, copy paste everything from your downloaded index.html file. So that is basically your HTML file. Or you can also, for example, let's say this is your index page. You can also go to the HTML editor. Here you don't have to write any HTML tags here, so you can also update that link. Let's say updated or whatever information you want to save. Here you don't have to write up with any tag information. You can just make changes, format whatever information you have there. If even you have your own page, you can also make changes over there. And then hit save button, whatever changes you have made. And then if you refresh that button, so it should be updated. It is updated. So there are many ways to edit your index pages or create different types of index pages. So this is the HTML file. It should look similar like this. It should start with the HTML tag, starting tag, and it should end with / with the same HTML tag. And then you have header information, then you have a body information. You can also create tables in your HTML file, like I have created here. For example, these are different tables or different sections that I have created. And then whatever information you want to show on your first page, you can edit that page easily. Okay, so if you go back to phpMyAdmin, over there if you go back to SQL, so here you can type in this query, select static from table, your table name Gene, where Gene underscore number is equal to 1. So execute these 3 lines. Select static from your table name where Gene underscore number or your first column is equal to 1. So first make sure you have selected your database and then go to SQL. So you should be able to retrieve that information. So you can also, for example, for your further course information, you can also use this SQL for executing your queries. So you can execute your queries here, whatever you want to execute, and then you can retrieve information based on your SQL query. So it should show up something like that. So you can also copy, go back here, paste, make changes, hit go button, and then you should be able to retrieve that database information. Okay, so let's go briefly through PHP HTML pages. So creating web pages. So now we know that hopefully your database is running. So then you can basically execute your SQL queries, make changes to your database, or make changes to your web pages also, whatever changes you want to make. So basically there are 2 types of scriptings that we were doing. So the first one is client-side scripting, and the second one is server-side scripting. So for client-side scripting or user-side scripting, or maybe like front-end side scripting, we most likely use HTML, JavaScript, or any other front-end services. And for the server-side scripting, we use PHP, Django, JSP, or some other languages. But for this tutorial, we are using the first 2, HTML and PHP. So HTML is more likely your user end phase, and then for executing the SQL queries, you are using PHP language. So you can find further information under the tools and resources page. So as you saw in the file that HTML has some different tags. For example, HTML tag just to indicate that this is an HTML file, and then further you have body, header, head information, body information, and you can also create different forms in that HTML file. So the first 2 tags are HTML and /HTML. So this is your starting tag and this is your ending tag, and then within these 2 tags you can create whatever you want. If you want to go back to your HTML page, you can also recheck everything over there. Okay, and another is PHP, that is more likely a server-side scripting, where you are basically going to implement your SQL queries. So you can also embed that PHP within HTML. For that case, you need to basically provide those PHP tags within your HTML file, so that your code should be executed within the HTML. So for example, if you want to see further likely how PHP works, you can also explore that file search_genes.php. Over there you can see there are different commands that basically execute SQL queries against your database. So finally, you can access your URLs like your websites. If you're using your personal account, you can use your net ID here, webengineering.illinois.edu. If you're using team name or project information, so you can access with that project name or group name .web.engineering. So everything should be the same remaining. And this should be, I think, from 19 to 14 characters long. Should be within this characters limit. Okay, a little bit more information if you are going to use mobile apps. So this is just likely a very brief overview where you can find some information likely how can you develop your mobile apps either based on iOS or Android systems. So there are some other platforms also, but if you want to focus on these two forms, so you can get some information online. So let's go through briefly iOS system. So the language used to develop softwares for iOS is Objective-C, general purpose object-oriented language that adds small talk style messaging to this C. The iOS SDK is the software development kit that you can install on your systems, and then further you can go with the mobile apps development. In this case, Xcode is integrated development environment ID for iOS programming. So basically it has 3 layers, MVC, it works on MVC structure. So the first one is model. It is responsible to manage the data. It stores and retrieves entities used by an application, usually from a database. View, you can also use same structure for your cPanel, like for your other web hosting services. View, it is responsible to display the data provided by the model in a specific format. Controller, it handles the model and view layers to work together. The controller receives requests from the client, invokes the model to perform the requested operations, and sends the data to the view. The view formats the data to be presented to user in a web application or in your mobile app applications as an output. Okay, so this is pretty much the link of these 3 layers: model view, controller view, and view layer. So you can find further informations using these resources. So there is also likely how can you build your Hello World first app type of tutorial. So you can follow this information further. And then second one is Android, an operating system based on the Linux kernel, initially developed for touchscreen mobile devices such as smartphones and tablets. Android SDK is required for the development. You can install that environment into your laptops. ADD plugins for Eclipse if you are using Eclipse. So this is the pretty much briefly overview for the Android mobile apps. You can, the first step is just set up your environment and then create your application within the development side, debug and testing, make sure your database is running, it's retrieving all the informations available from the database to the front end side, and then you can just go ahead and publish your link. So for further information, how can you create your first app? So this is the tutorial. You can follow instructions online and then create your first app or your further project apps. Okay, so at this point we are done with stage 0. That was basically group formation. Anyone who has not joined or who has not any group yet? So I hope everyone has teams and team members, at least 3 to 4 for your track 1, and for the track 2 you should have at least 2 members for your research surveys. So the next stage is stage 1, functional descriptions and ER designs. So by this time, I think if you have discussed your projects with TAs, so it's good. If you have not discussed your projects yet, so I would suggest to discuss your projects. For example, you can also discuss your further ideas, what you're going to implement. Make sure it is already not implemented by anyone else. If you're going to implement or provide some novel ideas, make sure you should not be copying any previous years or previous semester's projects. So you should be coming up with your own projects.
So we need to discuss in office hours. Does it matter if it's TA office hours or the professor office hours?
Yeah, exactly. The question is like you can also where you can go and discuss your project ideas. So you can either go to your professor, or you can also send us an email, especially like your project TAs. We can help you out with that. Okay, so this stage, the first stage is due on February 20th. Probably I think the next Monday, I guess. So most of the stages, they are due at noon. So make sure you are done by noon on Monday on February 20th. And then further stage is development plan, February 27, just 1 week later. And then third stage is set up development environment, that's due on March 1st. The fourth stage is initial demo plus your 2 advanced SQL queries. So that is basically due on between March 13 and 15. We will be basically providing you some time slots so that you can sign up, and then you can visit us during those time slots. So it's pretty much due before spring breaks. The final stage is after spring breaks. We'll be also providing you some sign up pages for that, so you can go and manage your times and then see us with your project presentations. So anything you want to say, or you are not sure, if you're not sure about any of the stages? Okay, so for the project track 2, stage 0, it's done. I hope everybody, if you are taking 4 credit hour course, so I hope everybody is within members of 2 teams, and your information is up on the wiki pages. So same, your stage 1 is due on February 27th. So it's more likely what you are going to do, and then further your surveys at stage 2, they are due. It's not likely a development plan, but the first is so these are the stages. For the stage 1, survey proposal submission, what you are going to implement based on the ideas that we have already given to you guys. So based on this information, you are supposed to provide surveys on these topics if you are taking 4 credit hour. And then stage 2 is survey final draft submission. So that's due around April 20th. So let's make changes here. All right, so that was pretty much for this lecture. If you have any questions or your project discussions, you can discuss it now.
I told you the ideas before. Do any of the Thank you.